Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe my eyes right now. We are not dropping any frames. We are live. I do apologize, no countdown. There was a slight delay here with the weather, but I just wanted to get this stream going because I have been battling for you guys here with internet connectivity issues and all kinds of stuff. But it looks like, as of right now, fingers crossed, we might be okay. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the V1 channel. We are going to take the lovely Toliss A321 across the Gulf to Cancun, Mexico. Wow, from Cancun, Mexico to Tampa International Airport. So, a couple shout out, Dougal McTavish, good to see you here, man. All my green members, Team Green, Clear Direct, Fubar, what's going on? Andy, Anderson C, Spirit Wings. Good to see. Flying Guitarist is here as well. Aaron Hastings, Wojtek, Chuck Blake. Good to see you guys. We are finally going to get this show on the road. So it's been a long time coming. I see frames starting to drop already, but we are back in the 321. I've got the airplane pretty much loaded up here right now. I was kind of tooling around here. We got a nav baro discrepancy. We're going to set 3007 over here on this side as well. So I got the current weather in the box. I have our flight plan loaded. We got constraint modes on. We are just going to wait for our performance, which our GPS is now primary, so we can finally get our performance numbers in here and start getting this airplane out of here. Yeah, good to see everybody back in the chat. I know it's been a while, guys. For those that don't know, I did have my second child, the wife and I, and so we have two baby girls now, and it's been 3 weeks. I was 3 weeks old now, I think, on Monday or yesterday. So yeah, it's been a whirlwind. All my parents out there, you guys know, the first couple weeks with a newborn is unlike anything in life, really. You can't really prepare for it because it just kind of, it all blends together, and you combine that with, I still was at work. I didn't take time off for this one. I figured I'd been home enough with all the EIL and VIL stuff that was going on with COVID, extended leaves and all that stuff. So I took a couple weeks off, but we're back in the saddle. Let's get going here. You can see the airplane is loaded. We got a full boat today. We got a full boat of passengers. We're going to get 220 people from Cancun up to Florida. 4,000 pounds of cargo in the forward, 2,000 in the aft. Now, the way this would work in real life is you're going to have, X amount of bags per section, and then it would flow to the next section. So it looks like we filled up that forward cargo, and then they moved 2,000 to the aft. Our CG looks pretty much smack dab in the middle there. We got our fuel 17.5. We are going to do a yoga thrust takeoff out of here as always. So let's get our V speeds 151, 151, and 155. I feel like I have so much to talk about, so just to now that I'm finally back on stream with you guys. Scott says Tampa is right outside Scott, that's awesome, man. I was just in Tampa the other day, man. Actually, yesterday. I just got done flying for 4 days, so I'm pretty much exhausted as well. But we're going to get back in this here. Flaps 1, no flex. That looks good. Thrust reduction is 1530, so our speeds are pretty much set. Let's go ahead and get the APU fired up here. We're going to do our flow. We're going to get our fuel pumps on. Oops, mode selector. We'll turn that back off. And I'm going to prime the APU here. Should have our nav lights on, seatbelts on, auto. Arm those. Let's make sure our fuel is indeed balanced, which it is, 8,800 aside. That is good here. We'll go ahead and start the APU, hop outside, take a listen to some BSS sounds. I got to make sure the audio is okay here for you guys as well. Let me come back here. There we go. Spirit Wings says, congrats V1 for her flight school, college fund. Thank you so much, Spirit Wings, for the $20 bomb donation. I really appreciate it, man. Yeah, we'll see. We named her V2, so I'll be V1, she's V2, and I guess our first child is VR or maybe V2 plus 10, I don't know. But thank you, Spirit Wings. I appreciate that, man. It's been fun. So, Chuck, you said you just left Tampa and on your way to Boston via V Spirit. Chuck, that's awesome, man. I know you guys are flying around that V Spirit stream. That was a lot of fun. That was the last time we flew together on stream, was when we did that multi-crew. It feels like ages ago. We'll have to do that again. That was just kind of a cluster stream there. My internet was terrible. My PC crashed. But, hey, we made the best of it. I still think it was pretty fun. All right, so we got our APU online here. Let me actually do my flow. I kind of messed up my flow there. That's good. Cruise supply is on, and let's get our ground control. That is on. We already did the fire test. We no longer need external power. We have a full load of passengers, so we don't need the econ flow. I'm going to crank these down to probably where they would be. Actually, realistically, right now, we'd have it nice and cold here at the gate because it is warm here in Cancun. Let's get the APU bleed running. Remember, the econ flow push button or the pack flow selector, if you're in the A320 or the A319, it does not matter where that position is if you're just running off a single lead. So it only works when your packs are both working, when you have multi-pack operation. So it's kind of redundant to even mess with it right now on the APU bleed, but just a fun fact there. So we got that off. Everything else looks good. We can go ahead and start closing up the doors here. We no longer need you. Let's close.
Flight attendant's boarding is complete, ladies and gentlemen. In just a few moments, we'll be closing the main cabin door and be on our way to Chicago. If you plan to use a mobile device during flight, now is a good time to make sure those devices are set to airplane mode. So before the aircraft can move, everyone must be seated.
Nice announcement, sir.
Tray tables in their upright and locked position. Your camera and items stowed and all armors fully lowered.
Dean, yes, this is the BSS sound pack for the A321.
Good morning, welcome aboard.
Alex Friedman says, I just passed my PPL check ride a few weeks ago. Alex, congratulations, man. That is awesome. Good job on that. Positive rates in chat for Alex Friedman getting a PPL check ride. That's awesome, man. Are you going to continue your flight training, or were you just going for the PPL out the gate there just to have your private pilot license and finish up? Either way, man, congratulations. That is a huge accomplishment. Job well done, my friend. All right, let's do a quick little brief here. We're going to be going off of, I feel like I'm briefed up because I've been sitting here for 15 minutes delaying for the weather. But we are on the RNAV 12 right departure. We're on the Rotke 1. I've already loaded up the box. I've confirmed it. It's an RNAV departure. Pretty simple here. We're going to come out, our first fix for us is, let's take a look here. Intercept UN 412. So it's going to be a straight out, then a left turn 075 all the way up on the Rotke 1 Alpha out to the Rotke transition. Here we're going to pick up the GoMex routes, Go Mexico's routes, which are the basically Gulf transatlantic. I won't say transatlantic, that doesn't make sense. Call them GoMex routes, basically airways that go across the Gulf of Mexico from Mexico up to Canada and Florida and all that. So that is set. We'll pick up that. We might get a shortcut along the way because it is kind of a long flight going the way we're going, but we'll see what we can do about that. So that is in the box. If we have to come back, emergency procedures are as previously briefed. We're all familiar with emergencies here in Cancun. This is where we have our emergencies, it seems like. We do have 12 right in the secondary for our return. Everything else looks good. Perf data has been set. And on this top altitude, we don't have ATC, so I'm just going to go ahead and set our cruise. Did I set a cruise altitude? What are we cruising up to today? 350. So we'll set 350. And I'm ready to go. Windows, doors, and slides, they're closing on. Beacon is on. Thrust levers idle. Parking brake is set. Transponder mode for now. 4-star check. Let's get out of here. Let's start the pushback.
Ground to cockpit. Please, show me where you want to go.
Perfect. We'll push back.
Line
Alpha, I believe. Let's see here. 10-9. Uh-oh, V1 is back. Been doing too much Zebo. Better get back in the bus. Brian, absolutely, man. Hey, ironically, I've been doing a couple 757 flights in the Boeing lately, so we'll see. There's something coming out for that soon. But I've been flying some Boeings when I've had a chance. The last time I wanted to stream and it didn't work, I ended up doing a flight myself in this FlyJ Sim aircraft. But here we are here. We're going to push off, tail north, and taxi out Echo 3 Charlie 9. We're going to start them both up. It's going to be a short taxi out. Nathan Hartman says, I'm doing my first training flight on Saturday. Nathan, that's awesome, man. Dougal says, people don't forget there's an FS 2020 update today. Start with via the Microsoft App Store. Ooh, I shall check it out, Dougal. I haven't been in FS 2020 in a while. I've been kind of holding off on that whole platform until I can get Starlink. The thing with Starlink is I know people around me who have started getting theirs, and a little bit south, a couple hours south of me, and then I know a buddy of mine in Arizona. He got his Starlink, and we're kind of on the same latitude, so I can only imagine it's got to be close. I did see a chart that said if you're in the red zone, this may be why you don't have your Starlink yet. And literally where my house is, there's this one tiny little red dot. So I don't know if they are anti-V1 over there at the Elon Musk Corporation, but we're waiting.
Start connected and bypass being inserted. Release parking brake.
I'm showing my aircraft. Oh, here we go. Did that fix it? Let me see. There we go.
Information signs and posted placards. Your seatbelt should be worn low and down across your head. To fasten your seatbelt, enter the metal tip into the buckle until it clicks. Tighten and pull on the loose end of the belt, and to open your seatbelt, lift the metal flap on the buckle. For your safety and the safety of those around you, please keep your seatbelt.
YouTube seems to be giving me issues here with the stream, but maybe you guys are still getting it. We'll see here. All right. Let's go ahead and get out of here. Brakes release, you're clear to push.
Starting pushback, and you may start engine.
Right here.
Front and back exit doors can be detached and use the straps. Please
Whoa,
take a
whoa,
moment to
whoa, whoa.
locate the exit nearest to you, keeping in mind that the closest exit may be located behind you. The cabin is pressurized. If there's
Alex says I'm going to continue my training at Auburn University in the fall. Awesome, man.
remain seated with your seat
No VATSIM today, man. I'm trying to just maximize my internet. Right now it seems like it's struggling, starting to struggle. I don't know if that storm is moving over towards the tower or what, but hey, we're going. We are going no matter what.
Oxygen will be flowing through the mask, even though the
Andy says, I think I heard you in the 7271 when XP72 crashed to Zebo on the beach. I think you called tower and told them. Yeah, Andy, you're absolutely right, man. I was kind of flying incognito with that little, when he was streaming, I was just flying in the Congo line with everybody. And yeah, I literally was the airplane behind XP72 when he went down. It was hilarious, man. I was laughing. I couldn't believe it.
fasten the buckle and pull on the strap to tighten.
That was a funny stream, man. That was good. All right, we got two started, both engines here. Let's go ahead and start engine one. We got bleed pressure, turn in one. I'll let you guys take a listen.
The vents can also be inflated by blowing into the tube locator shoulder level. Remember, do not inflate your vents until you exit the aircraft. Just like the front and back exit doors can be detached and use straps. There are rafts also located in overhead compartments and mid-cabin doors exits. Federal aviation regulations require your compliance with lighting information signs, posted placards, and crew members' instructions, including the seatbelt and non-smoking signs. All Spirit Airlines flights are non-smoking. Smoking including the use of e-cigarettes.
Got the wrong announcement. She called us Spirit Airlines there. It was clearly JetBlue.
Federal law prohibits tampering with, disabling, or destroying laboratory smoke detectors. Ladies and gentlemen,
All right, there's our power
Operation
transfer.
complete. Set parking brake.
Brake set, we're starting to.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
There we go, spooling up engine two. Running with the default engines here today. A few stutters here and there. Yeah, I can see I'm dropping a couple frames. Oh, there we go. It cleared the caution. I think so. What's happening is literally at 10:30 when I had the stream scheduled, this storm cell. There's a big line coming through Texas right now, but it's not too bad up where I am. But there was one little storm cell. Literally was right over the top of my house at 10:30, and so what's happening is that cell is moving towards the radio tower, where I get the signal from my dish to the roof to the tower, essentially. So I think it's over there at the tower. And in all my research and reading, the biggest problem when you have a Wi-Fi internet connection like this is rain, because the density of the raindrops, that will actually interfere with your connection. So
And bypass pin has been removed. And signal on the left.
Hopefully it'll
We'll
pass.
see you next time and have a safe flight.
Ryer, thanks for the smooth push, man. We'll see you next time. I see a veil on number 2. We got 2 good starts. That goes back to normal. Let's extend the flaps from this position here. Dante, I believe this scenery is in the description. This is one of my I don't know why, it's just one of my favorite sceneries. It's really well done. I've done a lot of time in Cancun. And this scenery is really well representative of the airport. So, all right, we got 2 good starts. Let's go ahead and release the parking brake. Lights coming on, and let's do a cinematic taxi out here. Let's get out of Cancun, shall we? Went through the engine there a little bit. That's all right. All right, we're going to transition to lane 3. I forget what this is actually called. Greetings from Russia, Boeing. Thank you. It's a long way away, man. Welcome to the stream, my friend. Let's do our flight control check here on the taxi out. Full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, and neutral. Rudders, they're not going to go full because of my rudder pedals. Full left, full right for my rudder pedal setup, and neutral. What was our pitch setting? I never did set that. I think we're going to be just fine, but what was it? 1 plus F, up 0.3. So 0.3 on the trim is set. And let's go ahead and make the right turn here. Thank you for the subscribe there. Appreciate it. Welcome to the channel. If you are new to the channel and you're just subscribing and you're like, man, why is this guy streaming in 720p? HD should be coming soon. We are eagerly awaiting the Starlink internet. Alright, let's do our flow here. Phantom forgot to do it. That's good, that's good. TARA, we're going to squawk 2000 up. Radar PWS can come on and auto. Now, one thing about Mexico is they have some pretty well, I say non-standard, but non-standard as compared to the US. So you might get phraseology in Mexico where it's like JetBlue behind the landing 737 runway 12 right, line up and wait. Or even worse, it's runway 12 right, line up and wait behind the landing 737. So you get those conditional clearances in Mexico. Really got to be paying attention. You don't want to key the mic too soon and respond because you might block that transmission where it's critical. But right now, final's clear. We're not on VATSIM anyway, so we're going to go ahead and light it up. We're going to get out of here. Anybody who knows or been around this channel for a while, you know that the Cancun departure may not disappoint. If something's going to go wrong, it'll go wrong on this departure here. We do have random failures enabled, but oh wow, listen to that sound. Just that's the perfect pitch.
Subscriber ahead. Look up.
Listen to this. When I increase just a little bit of thrust, listen to this whine right here. Wow, that is almost. I mean, it's real. It is real. I mean, I'm sure they're real audio samples. Unbelievable. Really well done by BSS there as I overshot the turn.
Donation.
That's okay.
Donation.
Scott Rashley coming in with a $20 bomb. Thank you so much for the donation. He says, congratulations and glad you are back. Scott, thank you so much for your very kind donation, man. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. The V1 family is very grateful for your genuine support here on the channel, man. All right, you guys ready to go? I'm going to get my screen set up here. I'm going to go my traditional views, pop that out. We're going to go full-blown yoga. We're going to do it from the engine view here. Spool them up 50. It's been a while. It's been a couple weeks, guys. I need maximum yogas in chat. Maximum yogas in chat. Here we go. Enjoy the takeoff. $80 knots, thrust set. V1, rotate. Positive rate, gear up. A little under rotated there. Flyby. Absolutely love it. We're gonna miss the turn here on the departure. Here, real quick, we're gonna go autopilot 1 just because I want to look. I just want to spin this departure outside. Here comes a reduction. Listen to the change in pitch. Wow. Alright, I probably should see what we're doing up here. Thrust, climb, climb, auto thrust. Here comes the left turn. Guy just sponsored. Welcome to Private Pilot. Welcome. Thank you for joining the channel, my friend. Let's just take a minute to enjoy this departure. It's been too long since I've been able to do this with you guys on stream. Wow. All right, let's go ahead and pay attention here. Looks like we just had our auto flap retraction there at 206 knots. We'll go flap 0 after takeoff checklist. Start the chrono there. I should have done that upon gear retraction. That's all right. What's our outside air temp? Plenty hot, 29C. After takeoff checklist is complete. A lot of times here, if you're not in the mix of something, they'll give you a direct too. Now I know technically we're on the... we're all going the same way. We'll just let it fly it out. UN 412. What we're going to do is we're going to climb unrestricted. So we'll just go climb and maintain 350. So I'm going to go open climb. So this is a key piece of information that you want to pay attention to if you're on any type of VATSIM network or you're trying to simulate real life here. When you get a climb via clearance, you are responsible for meeting these altitude and or speed restrictions. 230 knots here, 5,000 feet here, or at or below 5,000, at or below 7,000. But if you get a climb and maintain after departure, or even tower gives you a climb and maintain, that basically nullifies your via clearance. And to get rid of the restrictions without having to go into your MCDU and manually delete them, all you gotta do is just pull for open climb, and what that's gonna do is gonna give you your speed, 250, and it's gonna give you the power, max power at climb thrust, and you're just gonna climb out as fast as the airplane will do. So we're pretty heavily loaded right now. We got a 2,600 feet per minute. Our gross weight is 176. 200, so we are underweight, or actually, yeah, we are underweight, 178 for a 321. So we are just under max landing weight should we have to do an air return, which is okay, but we are moderately loaded. It is warm out there, 28C, so 2,700 feet per minute is not bad at all for this load that we got coming out of Cancun today. But you can see we're still on the departure, except we are doing our own climb out here out of 8,000. Tango Delta says the takeoff sounds send shivers down my spine. Juice. It's definitely juice, man. I love this sound pack. Thank you for the subscribe there, Carlos. Paul, welcome to the channel, man. And the Aftermath, thank you for subscribing, guys. Appreciate it. Looks like YouTube finally got the notification box working again. I know that was giving us issues. Alright, a couple more 100 feet here, and then we're going to do our 10,000 foot flow. Then we can go back outside. So there's 9.8, 9.9, close enough. Here's 10,000 feet. We'll go ahead and kill the overhead lights. Now, here's a question. So, with the wheels in the well, with the landing gear in the well and all of my lights on, which lights are actually going to be illuminated? So, let me rephrase that. Let me make sense. Which lights turn off upon gear retraction, regardless of switch position? My Airbus knowledge guys out there in the chat. Which lights will turn off regardless of switch position when the gear is in the well? What does the aileron ground spoiler setting do on the Toliss menu? The Harmony. So that's a great question. What that does is it's a reference to what's sometimes commonly referred to as the Florence kit. And essentially what happens upon touchdown, the ailerons will actually deflect slightly up, similar to how ground spoilers do. You know, when your spoiler's armed and the spoilers come up on the wings to kill the lift, the ailerons will do that as well to give you an additional increase in landing performance or shorter stopping distance. It's referenced as a Florence kit is the most common name. Most modern Airbuses have that. I don't know. I'm sure there's some that don't, but I think, you know, I think it's been kind of adopted as the norm now. I'm sure there's some airlines out there that don't have them, but Runway turnoff and nose. Maxim is the first one that I saw. I know it all depends on your internet connection, but yes, he is correct. The runway turnoff and nose light will turn off independently when the gear is in the well. That way, if you forget to leave these switches on for some reason, they're still going to be off. They're not going to be burning inside that wheel well. Anyway, our 10,000 foot flow, we got our lights off. Everything is good here. We're going to come to our box. What I'm going to do to my secondary, I'm going to copy the active just to have that in the secondary, and our RadNav page, if we had hard tuned anything, we would go ahead and delete that hard tune, but I didn't hard tune anything for this departure, so that is good. And then of course we want to monitor Delta operations on 121.5 on COM 2 after passing 10,000 feet. Climbing out at 340 knots, that's a little spicy. Let's dial that back. We're never going to get to top of climb. Let's do a 330 knot climb out right now, and let's do a flyby, and then we'll sit ourselves on the wing view. Beautiful. I wanted to touch on that Florence kit one more time. So, as you were asking, a situation, here you go. Aileron with ground spoiler. So that's exactly as it sounds. So the aileron will watch on landing, will deflect up, very similar to how your ground spoilers do upon touchdown. Clear Direct Fubar says, when does it get uncomfortable for the passengers? More than 4,000 feet per minute? For climb rate Fubar, honestly, I really don't think people get uncomfortable in the climb out. When you talk about descents, then yeah, about 4,000 foot per minute can get a little bit uncomfortable for the nervous flyer, perhaps. But on a climb out, man, 4,000 feet a minute, if you're relatively light, especially the last year we've been flying with, single-digit passenger loads, it doesn't seem that aggressive from the back, but it definitely is amplified when you're on the descent. But anyway, I've seen 6,000 foot per minute climb rates, and heck, if I'm going to try to get the best climb rate I can if I've got the performance to do it, and we don't have to meet any restrictions. So, yeah, 4,000 feet per minute is a good benchmark to look at, but on the descent, anything more than 4,000 is definitely noticeable and can get people to be like, huh? Well, we're really coming down. Sam says, I tried to make it into DFW for V-Spirit this morning. Ended up diverting after nasty wind shear on approach, followed by wind shear tripping Alpha Floor in the go-around. Sam, that's insane, dude. That's insane. Are you diverting? Where'd you divert to? Oak City or Houston? Jeremy Harvey, what's going on, man? Glad to see you. He says, V1 just stopping in to say welcome back. I'm getting ready to go play piano for a concert. Jeremy, that's awesome, man. Good luck, my friend. I'm sure you're going to absolutely crush it. Harmony asks, do we have a nose wheel disconnect? Yes, we do. We do, the Harmony. And it is right here on top of your tiller, but I have mine bound. If you just bind nose wheel steering disconnect, you can bind it in the settings. All right, so standard is set 1, 2, and 3 out of 18.3 up to 350. I'm going to put Tampa here in the GPS page here. We need RNP 10, I think, for GoMex, or I think it's RNP 10. We're definitely well under that. But Tampa, 437 miles away. 330 on the speed, doing 2,000 feet a minute. Yeah, I think we're doing just fine. Let's do another flyby. I really wanted to run X-Enviro this morning, but I wasn't sure if X-Enviro would affect my frames or not. Or not my frames in the sim, I know it will, but my frame drop situation. Because I've been running X-Enviro quite a bit now. Especially going over water. Maximum tailwind speed for 321 during takeoff, 15 knots, Daniel. Good memory item. 15 knot for takeoff, 10 knots for landing.
Donation.
Maxine says, would you prioritize higher climb rates or higher speed for optimum efficiency? Oh, Max, I'll get right back to that. Dougal McTavish has donated, oh my goodness, $20 bomb. Dougal. He says, more diapers or bourbon. Dougal, I like to tell you, I'm going through both both of those items very rapidly, man. Thank you for your support on the channel, dude. I appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. I haven't. I know I've got a bunch of red dots on my Discord when I go in there. I've got a bunch of DMs that need to be answered, and I have some emails. I'm not ignoring you guys. I've just literally had no time to really get back and answer. So if I apologize if I haven't responded to your DM. I think Dougal, I have a couple of messages for you on my Discord as well. But thank you for your support, man. I appreciate it. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're feeling good. It's always a joy to see you in the chat, my friend. It really is. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So again, thank you for that. Diapers and bourbon, I'm going to be all over it. Maxim, to answer your question, when you prioritize higher climb rates or higher speed, it honestly is going to depend, Maxim. It's hard to, in any situation, in every flight that you take, you're going to have different situations. And there's a phrase people say, I actually kind of hate it. I think it's annoying, but situations are situational, obviously. But depending on what you're trying to accomplish. If you're in a high terrain situation, say you're taking off out of the mountains somewhere in Europe, or maybe you're just in Denver, or the Rocky Mountain Range in the United States, altitude is going to be your priority in that case, right? So you want to be climbing up. Now, most operators are going to give you your cost indexes or your performance numbers anyway, and you're going to fly your cost indexes. So like if I were to do a cost index of 75, which we have programmed here, my managed would be 340. So I'm actually going a little bit slower than what my cost index is doing. I could probably manage it up if I wanted to right now, but I'm trying to kind of tweak this 321 to climb a little bit faster, just because I want to take advantage of some of the wind, which it doesn't really look like it's making that much of a difference. It's only 17 knots, but it really is just going to depend on that exact situation that you're in. So honestly, in the US, below 10,000 feet, you got to be doing 250 knots or less. So most jets, you're going to get to 250 pretty easily, and then the rest is just going to be climb performance. But you have climb gradients that you got to meet. You could tweak the speed to get a little better climb performance, or if ATC asks you, of course, you can do that as well. But that's a kind of a hard question to just blanket statement over. Sam says, I made it to Oak City visiting the FAA on this diversion, I guess. Yeah, Sam, that's one place I'm not diverting to, my friend. I'm going south. I'm not going to Oak City. I've learned that lesson. Russ D coming in with a $10 bomb. Thank you, Russ. He says, welcome back and congrats, V1. I think I was still a student pilot last time I saw a stream, and any flying club suggestions in the Fort Worth area. Russ D, thank you so much, man, for the $10 bomb. I appreciate that support. Thank you so much. We are in some icing condition here. Let's go ahead and get our engine anti-ice on. I do not have any suggestions off the top of my head. I know there are a couple in North Texas. Oh wow, doorbell's going off. That's interesting. Stand by. Well, we don't really have a lot of doorbell ringing up where I live. I don't know if that's a delivery guy or what, but hopefully the dogs will calm down here in a second. I know North Texas has a couple, but I can't think of any. I don't have any connections to any, or any good recommendations for you. But anyway, thank you for your support, and congrats on your flying, man. That's awesome. Trying to scroll back at some of the chat here. If the runway, so David says, if the runway is VFL early visible before minimums, what's technically the point of it go around? I don't understand your question there, David. If the runway is VFL or VFR, I'm sorry, I don't understand your question, man. I can hear my wife trying to calm those dogs down. We're out of the clouds there. Let's talk about the engine anti-ice real quick, because I've kind of glazed over this. Okay, we've transitioned to Mach. Let's go ahead and do Mach. Let's do a 7.8. What is our perf one? It wants to do 7.7. I'm going to just manage it up here. So now we'll go manage speed. You can see a 7.7 is our cost index climb, and the wind really isn't not being super beneficial anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and do a 7.7 climb out per the cost index. That's what the company wants us to do. It seems pretty smooth here, so we'll go ahead and turn the seatbelt sign off, and we are on top of these clouds, so we'll turn the engine anti-ice off. But I want to go a little bit more in depth about engine anti-ice. I think I glaze over this a lot just for sim purposes, you know, and keeping it simple, but I think we should talk a little bit more in depth about it, because I did have something happen to me which was ironic. I hadn't seen it in real life in quite some time that I can remember anyway, and it actually happened to me a couple days ago. It was kind of unique. So for those that are PPL, or maybe you're doing your flight training and IFR training, you are generally taught that the icing range for a pitot heat is a plus 10 C and minus 10 C in visible moisture. So if and that's going to be based on your TAT. So if you are in visible moisture, rain, fog, clouds, snow, that's obviously moisture, right? And the temperature is in that range, anywhere from minus 10 to plus 10, you should have your heats on. Now, for jets, and when you start climbing into the high flight levels, you know, above 24,000 feet into the mid-30s and up, we actually have a little bit different window that we want to look at. So for us, we will turn on the engine anti-ice when the TAT reaches plus 10 or less, and we're in visible moisture. And if we are in the climb out, so let's say, you know, we're on the ground and it's 8 degrees Celsius and we're in rain, we're going to have our engine anti-ice on, and we're going to take off with it. As we climb, it's going to get colder. So you would think as we're climbing up, once it hits minus 10, we would turn it off, but that's not necessarily true. So for us, as we climb up into the high flight levels, we actually are going to switch over and monitor our static air temperature. And we will continue to keep our engine anti-ice on until reaching minus 40 C. So once it hits minus 40 or above, so really I should say minus 41 C, is when we will go up there and turn them off, because it is still possible to accumulate ice theoretically up until minus 40 C. Now, in the descent, even if it is like 45 C. So let's take this exact scenario right now. Let's say we were just cruising here at 32,000 feet. We're above the clouds, but we're going to start our descent down. Our thrust is going to reduce to a low power setting. We know that we're above minus 40 C, or it's minus 46, so do we really need to turn it on? The answer is yes, because two reasons. We know it's going to warm up as we descend. Number two, as opposed to the climb out, we're going to be at a very low power setting in the descent, especially if you're doing a thrust idle descent. So the potential to accumulate ice theoretically will still exist up to minus 40 C, and then on your way back down, all the way up to plus 10 C on your TAT. So that's a little bit more in depth on the anti-ice in the Airbus. I know, you know, for sim purposes, realistically, just plus 10, minus 10, you're probably going to be fine. But what's interesting is I did actually see accumulation of ice at a temperature that I had not seen. I believe it was like minus, I want to say it was like minus 20, like minus 20 on the SAT and minus 15 or 17 on the TAT. I don't know, whatever it was colder than, you know, we always think of a plus 10, minus 10 TAT. And we actually started accumulating ice, and I'm like, huh, well, there you go. So it's rare, and, you know, if you're flying props or low level, you don't really worry about SAT, and you're not going to be going very fast. You're not in the Mach numbers, so you're not really worried about compressibility and all that. But for those that want to capture a couple golden nuggets from this stream, now you can kind of replicate that in your flying. So simple terms, plus 10 C TAT all the way to minus 40 C SAT in the climb out, and then on the descent, minus 50 or warmer SAT on the descent, turn it on all the way up to plus 10 TAT. So right now, if I were to start a descent, I would turn it on Right now I wouldn't, because now we're at minus 51. But if it hit minus 50 and we're on the descent, thrust idle, engine anti-ice is coming on. So there's your advanced engine anti-ice discussion for this stream. Now, the wing anti-ice, that one is often, I get a lot of questions on that too. Here it is over here. When do you turn on wing anti-ice? So we're not going to turn on the wing anti-ice the same time we turn on the engine anti-ice, unless we are obviously accumulating ice on the aircraft. The wing anti-ice does have a significant performance impact on the aircraft. So we use what's called a representative surface. So this little probe right here that you see on the cockpit strut, this was actually an ice detector, ice detect probe. It's not really an ice detector like the Embraers have. It doesn't have any mechanical or electronic signal to tell you if you're accumulating ice or not. But all it is we call it a representative surface. So if you see ice accumulating on this, or on the edge of the window frame where it's not heated, that would be indicative of icing accumulation, representative of the leading edge surface of the wing. That is when we would turn on the wing anti-ice. But the engine anti-ice is most commonly used. I would say the wing anti-ice gets used probably, if I were to turn the engine anti-ice on 10 times in the course of a month, the wing anti-ice will probably come on once or twice of those 10 times, just because the Airbus inherently does not accumulate that much ice. It really doesn't. I've flown in through some pretty bad icing, and I believe I told the story on here about that one night. We had really, really bad icing, but it's got to be significant conditions for it to accumulate on the Airbus. It does a pretty good job of not accumulating ice to begin with. So, and of course, the outboard 3 slats, where's my leading edge view, are the only things heated on the Airbus aircraft. So you turn on wing anti-ice, you're not heating the inboard here, you're not heating this pylon, you're only heating the outboard 3 slats of the leading edge surface. And the tail, the empennage, is not heated either. So that's just another fun fact there. I know my hardcore viewers probably already knew that, but just thought I'd throw that out there. He thought the dogs were in the sim. Yeah, I don't know what was that. I don't think I got any packages today. Thank you for the Private Pilot, James Bob. Welcome to Private Pilot, man. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you on the channel. Exclamation point, welcome to the channel. Now, there is, guys, I do have to apologize. I am behind here on my podcast. I will try to get that out. I think I'll probably be able to get it done maybe today, if not tomorrow. I have a lot of good questions we're going to get answered. If you are a member of the channel, you know that you get access to all the podcasts. If you're a commercial member of the channel, every month I post a post in the community tab where you can ask me a question for commercial members only, and then I'll answer those in podcast form, and we'll go over a couple other things as well. I might release some of the older podcasts to the public, just so if you guys are maybe on the fence about hearing what I have to say in podcast form, you can get a little sample of it. But I do appreciate all my members and all the support that you guys give the channel. Awesome stuff. And huge shout out to each and every one of you who have subscribed, because over the last 3 weeks I haven't produced. This is the first video I've been able to put out, and we actually eclipsed the 19,000 subscriber mark, which is pretty sweet. I mean, it's been a fun ride, man, and especially when I can't produce content as much as I'd like to still see the channel grow, it's really awesome. I really appreciate it. Daniel says, does engine anti-ice affect performance for takeoff or go-around? Daniel, yes, absolutely it does. So engine anti-ice and wing anti-ice can be accounted for when we send for our performance data. So in the real aircraft, you and your McDo, we'd come through our, we use aero data. Most airlines do. I know depending on which airline you work for, it may be different, but most common one is the aero data. And you will actually input the environmental conditions, and it will say engine anti-ice auto, which basically assumes if it's icing conditions that plus 10 or less C TAT on the ground and visible moisture, it will assume that the engine anti-ice is on. Wing anti-ice, however, you have to manually program. Now, I don't know if that's an option here. I don't believe it is. I think that would be cool. That might be something to bring up to Toliss in the future. I don't know if it's in here or not, but to be able to select, you know how we can select Toga or flaps 1, if we can manually select engine anti-ice or wing anti-ice to increase our or change our numbers up, that might be interesting. But yes, it absolutely does affect the performance of the airplane, and the wing anti-ice affects the airplane so much as to, if you are on approach to landing, it is recommended that you disable the wing anti-ice at the final approach fix in the event of a go-around, especially if you're at high gross weights, because what we call second segment climb or second segment performance climb numbers may be impacted to the point where you may not have your obstacle clearance or whatever if you have your wing anti-ice on. So the wing will stay hot enough that even if you turn it off at the final approach fix, you're not really going to accumulate anything until touchdown. Now, of course, if you do execute a go-around, most important thing is to get away from the ground, right? We don't want to impact the ground, control the aircraft, get on the missed approach, and then just like a takeoff, we're going to turn the wing anti-ice back on in clean wing configuration only. So for those that are, wondering if I'm taking off in snow and ice, do I have the wing anti-ice on the ground? No, you would turn that on once you are in flaps config 0. You want to make sure you're in a clean wing before you turn on the wing anti-ice. Golden State, didn't even know the stream was happening. Hope all is well. Welcome, Golden State. I did not get a notification out in the Discord today. I apologize, man. I kind of dropped the ball on that one. David said, I meant if the runway is clearly in sight before the minimums, what is the point of minimums as a decision point if you can still safely go around? David, it's just it's part of standardization, right? So let's say that you need to shoot an approach to get through the clouds. Even if the clouds are at 800 feet and your minimums are 200, all you have to say is runway in sight, landing, or whatever your SOPs are, and then you don't worry about the minimums anymore. That's just in the box. You just have to prepare if you do not see it. That's kind of what it's all about, is you prepare if you do not see it. Of course, if you don't see it, then you're already set up at your minimums. Christian says, are you coming back to Europe at 20K? Not quite Europe, my friend. Not quite Europe. I do have a 20K tour planned. I'm really just hoping that Starlink shows up. I really am, because I've got some good plans for the 20K tour. I want to do some 19K mini sub celebration stuff here. Maybe on the next stream you'll see a part of that. I have a couple flights planned that I really want to do that I don't think I've seen anybody do on YouTube or any other streaming service. I think it's going to be very unique and definitely presents its own set of challenges that we haven't seen before, or at least I haven't anyway. Super Deal Aviation says, greetings, you're a great teacher. Thank you for your time. A question, how can I know what is the temperature to make flex takeoff? Super Deal, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. What your flex is, well, the Toliss makes it very easy. When you put in your landing performance, or I'm sorry, your takeoff performance numbers or your weight and balance here, and you select flaps 1 plus F, it will give you your flex number here. Toliss makes it very easy. It will give it to you. It calculates it for you. Now, if you don't have a calculator, there are multiple ones online that you can use, or you can honestly just throw in a number, 30, 40. It's really not that big of a deal. Now, the only thing you got to be careful of if you're just randomly doing flex numbers is you don't want to flex if you're in a 319 of more than 69 degrees. That's the max flex for a 319. All flex does, guys, is it really saves engine wear and tear. So in the sim, we do all yoga takeoffs here because why not? I'm not paying for engine maintenance on my Toliss 321, so Toga's more fun. Now, if it's a contaminated runway, if you need the performance for a climb gradient, you're going to do Toga takeoff. If there's wind shear, you're going to do a Toga takeoff. So you're really only doing flex in optimal conditions and when you want to save wear and tear on the motors. Now, if you're in the hot summer days, we are getting into the summer, plus 10 degrees of flex is the cutoff. So let's say the temperature outside is 35 degrees. If you get a flex number that's 45, you have to do a Toga takeoff. If that between flex and the actual outside air temperature is 10 degrees or less, you have to do a Toga takeoff. And this is very important because what can happen is, due to slightly different environmental factors on the engine 1 FADEC versus the engine 2 FADEC, when you go to the flex detent, one engine may accidentally compute Toga thrust as opposed to the flex, and now you've got an asymmetric thrust condition. So whenever you reach that 10 degree window, you just go Toga. You don't even worry about it. Why does the left engine go first? OP, I've got a video on my channel. It's an FS 2020 dedicated to why you start engine 1 first. I believe it's off the gate in 20 minutes. Check it out. I've explained it with graphics and thoroughly in depth with hydraulics, but basically it has to do with single engine taxi. Thank you, Red Bull, for subscribing, man. Irfan says, do we really need to engage both autopilots during RNP approaches and no longer possible in 319? Correct. So the 319, so Toliss has actually modified their at-nav strategy in the aircraft where you would not be able to do an RNP, I don't remember, was it 0.303? Once you get to a certain level of RNP requirements, I forget what it is off the top of my head, it's in the video that I did, you are required to have multiple autopilots engaged. So now that you can't do that, now you're going to be restricted theoretically to RNP AR approaches. The videos will explain that all. That's a weird subject to talk about because it's being changed in real life and airplanes are being changed in the sim. But if you have anything RNAV related, RNAV questions, watch the RNAV videos that I put out. I think that will answer most of your questions. If not, it should give you a really good starting point. James says, congrats on the new baby from a hilltop walk in Wales. James, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. It's been a fun ride, man. Miss Jungles says, Mr. Jungles would like to know when you're going to fly the Chinook. Yeah, we'll see about that. We'll see about that. I'm going to need to hit him up for sure. We'll talk about it. I'm going to have to tune into one of his live streams. It looks really good. He's been posting pictures left and right on that Chinook, so I'm going to have to take a look at it here pretty soon. Andre Henry says, at this point in your career, do you have a choice on what equipment you're assigned, or is it a company decision? Nope, it's, at least in the U.S. anyway, everything is going to be seniority based. So when you get hired at an airline, you have a hire date, and that date is going to be your everything for your career. Anybody that gets hired after you, you're senior to them. So whenever it comes to picking something, whether it be schedules, time off, vacation weeks, equipment, or aircraft that you want to fly, everything is bid on, right? Everybody puts in a bid, and it goes in seniority order. So you get to pick based on your seniority order. Now, there are the rare instances, especially like, with COVID happening over the last couple of years, airlines begin to furlough and or involuntarily displace pilots from their equipment. So if some airline is getting rid of all Mad Dogs, there's no Mad Dogs left, but, well, actually, yeah, Delta got rid of Mad Dogs, last year? They got rid of them, so those pilots then get displaced to other equipment. Now that displacement will still go in seniority order, so you get to preference where you want to go based on your seniority, but those are the rare situations and the unfortunate situations that no pilot likes, is an involuntary displacement, whether it be a base or an equipment change. Those are the ones that you just kind of have to, eat it and put your bid in and hope you get something that you like. But when everything is good and normal, everything is based on your seniority and what you bid for. If you're the senior enough to hold it, then it's yours. You got it. You can go to the 350, the 78, whatever it is, if your seniority can hold it. The company really has no say if you can or cannot do it. Now, There are fine lines in between there, as with everything aviation, because when airlines merge, or let's say airline acquires another airline, now the pilot unions come together. Sometimes they can put up what's called fences, or there's other stipulations that may go in saying, example, you have X airline who has all Airbuses and Z airline has all Boeing. You guys merge. The Z airline with all Boeing, they put up a fence saying we can't have any X pilots fly Boeings for 5 years, and then you can bid on it if you want. So those are all little details that get worked up. It's a mess. Anytime there's an airline acquisition or merger, somebody always gets screwed. So it's never perfect for everybody. But again, those are those unfortunate situations. I'm curious, does the slot procedure work here? Let me see this real quick here. So we are going to Snaker. Offset. Work in progress. I was going to see if the slot procedures were modeled yet. That's something, another thing I actually got into the other day. But let's go ahead and shorten up the line here, shall we? Let's go JetBlue 357. You're cleared. Present position direct to a Seagar intersection. So there's Seagar. That looks good. Direct to. We're in the turn. And I'm going to go outside here. Let's go ahead and turn the volume down. Let me go where's my volume? Sound 3D, volume. External. Let's turn it down to just like 50 so we don't hurt our ears. I don't know why we have a brown spot down there. That's unfortunate. That's a weird glitch, huh? There we go. Vikas, rupee donation, 100 rupee donation, 200, I believe those are rupees, Indian rupees, 100 rupee donations. I like that word, rupee. Thank you so much for your support, Vikas. He says, hey, I plan to get hired in my home country in India here. So yeah, that would be correct, the rupees. They hire pilots even with 250 hours directly onto the Airbus and Boeing. I know. But because of COVID, I plan to do my training in the U.S. and build hours as an instructor. What are chances of an instructor job? Also, I'm flying on VATSIM right now. Vikas, well, awesome. Chances of an instructor job? A lot of times, if you go to or find a flight school that allows you to have maybe an agreement, so if they say if you come here and you instruct for X amount of hours, or you work here for X amount of time, we will guarantee you an instructor position. Actually, I phrased that kind of wrong. If they say if you get your ratings here, if you go through your private pilot and your instrument or your commercial, then we can guarantee you an instructor position or preferential hiring for an instructor job. But as far as just looking for instructors, I do not know what that current market looks like. But I do wish you the best of luck, man. And you will never know as much about flying as you will when you have to teach it. I'm telling you, for all those guys that are in training right now, I know Sam, you're becoming an instructor right now. I know there's multiple guys in the Discord that are getting their PPLs and stuff. When you go through your instructor rating, that is the time where you realize, wow, I really didn't know this until now. It really is eye-opening when you have to teach something, how well you have to know it, and you learn a ton in that process. So I do highly recommend being an instructor, Vikas. That's awesome, man. I wish you the best of luck with your endeavors, and thank you for your support on the channel, my friend. Mr. Lane coming in with the $1 bomb. I appreciate it, man. I don't see a message with it, but I do appreciate your super chat and your support on the channel. Do you take off with Toga for noise abatement? Yes. Gennady, a noise abatement procedure is probably going to have some type of extreme vertical climb gradient that you're going to have to meet. So I did a video on this with the very famous noise abatement procedure in Santa Ana, California, coming out of John Wayne. I did a video explaining that noise abatement procedure in depth. Take a look at that one. The one thing about that is when you do your Toga takeoff, what makes it noise abatement related is the immediate reduction of thrust. So you have a much lower thrust reduction altitude than you do acceleration altitude. So you blast off at Toga, you get that climb going, you're at your V2 plus 10, and then you bring the thrust back, and then the airplane just kind of coasts as you go over the sound collectors, and then once you reach enough altitude, you can go ahead and thrust up and accelerate. Alexander says, VNAV in-op. How do you calculate descents during approaches with tight altitude restrictions? Do you normally just pull open descent? So, Alexander, ironically, a lot of airplanes didn't have VNAV for quite some time. So, yes, it's all mathematical. The best way I can, or the easiest method that I can give you, Alexander, for calculating a restriction is the 3-to-1 rule. Now, I have a video on this. I don't think I have a dedicated video on this, but anytime I fly a old school Boeing, like the FlyJ Sim stuff, or if I fly, well, that's just an ugly view there too, huh? Wow, that's pretty ugly all around with that missing texture out over no man's land here. How about this shot? That's kind of a neat shot. The basic 3-to-1 rule. You take your altitude that you're at, subtract it from the altitude restriction you want to meet. So if you're at 30,000 feet, you need to meet a restriction that's at 10,000 feet. The difference is 20. Multiply that by 3. 246. 60 miles. You better start down. Now you can increase that a little bit for fudge factor. And of course your ground speed is going to be a big factor in that as well. You have a tailwind or headwind, it's going to increase that. But that's just a general rule of thumb to get you started. All right. You guys are keeping me busy. I love it. I love the questions. It feels so good to be back on stream talking Airbus with you guys. It really, really does. I love it. Sam says, yeah, America West and U.S. Airways basically operating as two separate airlines after merger. Sam, it was nasty, dude. So I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I was commuting a lot when that merger happened. And I'm telling you, it got nasty. There were actually memos that came out saying that you guys got to take it easy because the East pilots and the West pilots, East being U.S. Airways and America West being the West pilots, I mean, they just hated each other, right? And they would leave Easter eggs in the cockpit for each other, you know, either shutting screens off or what. But there were actually a couple instances of windows being closed but not locked. So in the Airbus, you know, it's pretty obvious what's locked and unlocked for a window. But if you're not doing your job and you're not verifying that they're closed and locked, the potential is there for a window to fly open because there is no ECAM or anything like that saying that the window is unlocked. So they actually would leave stuff like that out and, you know, have windows flying open on takeoff or whatnot. So they hated each other, and they still do, I think, for the most part. One of my good friends retired off the 7.5. America West OG, then of course U.S. Airways, and then American. But yeah, they very proud West guy, and they hold it. It holds true to this day for the most part. Thank you for all the subscribe, guys. I really appreciate it. Favorite long haul Boeing 747, man. Yeah, it's like a true long hauler. It's got to be the queen of the skies, dude. What airliner would you not like to fly in real life? I would not like to fly a Tupolev. That just looks insane. What are the Foxtrot asks, what are the limitations with single engine? I'm on a check. I feel like I'm on a check ride just reading your question. All right. What are the limitations with single engine taxi with APU in-op SETWA equipped 320s? So if you are SETWA equipped, which is single engine taxi without APU, which most Airbuses are depending on who you work for, the delivery can be different. Some of the older airplanes, but basically what SETWA is, what Foxtrot's referring to, is fire protection system. You need to have redundant systems operating there. So the SETWA equipped aircraft, which most are, what are the limitations with single engine taxi with the APU and opt? Oh, so you're talking about if you are not a SETWA equipped aircraft. Well, if you're not SETWA equipped, then you cannot single engine taxi if your APU is in op. That would be, is that what you're getting at? Yeah, if you are not a SETWA aircraft and you don't have an APU, then you can't single engine taxi. Dougal says, me too, I love the 747. I do, man. It's just such an iconic airplane. And the thing with the 7.4, I mean, I know the Dash 8 or the 8i or 8X, whatever it is, modern. But if you think back to the original 747, that airplane was designed before we had all these computers and all this fancy technology for designing aircraft. So you literally have guys in the hangar in a warehouse at the Boeing factory. One team is dedicated to the wing root, okay? And then this team is going to be dedicated to the fuselage. And we're going to draw up our plans, and then we're going to come together, okay, this is how we're going to combine them. And this is all with pencil, paper, and a slide rule. So to develop an aircraft, to design an aircraft of that magnitude at that time is, it's awesome. It really is awesome. And I think, if you've seen a 747 up close or ever been flying in a 747, it really is something truly special. I am an Airbus fan, you know that, but the 74 eats the A380 for lunch. I mean, as far as looks and everything. So I think I'm going to have to go 7.4 on that. Slam says, has the passenger numbers been continuing to increase for your flights recently, hoping the demand for pilots gets back to where it was? Slam, absolutely, dude. Last couple days, basically full on every leg. So the loads are increasing. The airports are getting more busy. It definitely is picking up, Slam. So just like I was saying, you guys were asking me this question months ago, and I said, you know what, I think it really will be back to pre-COVID levels by 2022, and I still stand by that. And I was saying summer of 2022. Excuse me. It may even be sooner, maybe more like spring, when you get the spring break of next year. There's still obviously some hit right now. People are still, getting the confidence to get back out or whatnot. But in the U.S. specifically, I don't like speaking to European aviation because I'm not involved in that, so I really don't have the knowledge base behind me to kind of talk about that industry in Europe or other parts of the world. But here in the United States, I firmly believe by spring of next year, I think you're really going to be looking at basically pre-COVID levels, if not all the way back to pre-COVID levels, and at the latest summertime next year. So if you're in that training stage right now, I mean, I really think you're going to be in a good spot because that demand is already going to pick up. And I've actually seen multiple regional airlines advertise for hiring right now. So they are hiring. I've seen the advertisements out there. It is definitely going to pick up. So the light is at the end of the tunnel, especially for you guys that are in the training phase or training pipeline right now. Super Die, he says, thank you so much for your support, man. I appreciate the $1 donation. He says, thank you for your time and dedication teaching us since we have been a lot like me. We have not been able to become a pilot because we have the resources, but thank you for teaching us when the Microsoft Flight Simulator fly-by-wire flies again. Super Deal, absolutely, man. Thank you for your support on the channel. We are going to be back in FS 2020. It's going to happen. I haven't abandoned the sim. I'm just, the way things are with my internet and with the amount of updates that happens on FS 2020, it takes a long time for me to get updated. But we're just trying to squeak by here until we can get Starlink. And at the very least, if I have Starlink, then I'll be able to update the sim more frequently. I'll be able to pre-download terrain so I don't have to waste my internet bandwidth during streams. It'll just be all better all around. So we're trying to squeak by. 2021 is definitely hitting the V1 channel hard, as for streaming content, but we're going to try to get by together for sure.
Subscriber ahead. Look up.
I might get banned for saying this, but I love the 7.4. Flight Guy, you're not going to get banned for saying that. I love the 7.4, man. It's a great bird. Andy says, imagine how hard Concorde was to design. Guys flew between England and France with the drawings and had to work across 2 different languages. Absolutely, Andy. You're right, man. That is another one that I haven't flown it since that, what was it, the 10K sub-special. But I know I'm going to have to get back in it because I know they've updated quite a bit on it. But you're absolutely right, man. That airplane is an unimaginable work of art, and then you throw the language barrier on top of it. You're absolutely right, man. England and France, just, it blows my mind. So that is true pioneers of aviation, and it's awesome to talk about. It's awesome we get to fly airplanes like that in the sim. All right, let's do a little bit of work here on our preparation for our arrival into Tampa Airport. I'm going to cut the corner here. Let's go present position direct to simmer. Insert that. We'll cut the corner, get our turn going. We'll turn back up the sim a little bit. And let's close off some Cancun and let's pull up current Tampa information. That way I know we get to talk and then I'll be way behind. All right, weather in Tampa, beautiful day as always, 270 at 5, 30-20 on the meters down there. So I'm going to go ahead and set 30-20, pull you back to standard. A few clouds, 27, 275, so we'll be landing with a crosswind, not a big deal. We'll continue to land with runway 1 left. We are going to be on the arrival of Blondes, I believe. Blonde 5 arrival from Simmer. There we are, direct route off. Blonde is an expect at 10,000 feet, so I'm going to put that in the box here. Altitude constraint of 10,000 over Blonde is set. We're going to be landing northbound, so we're going to transition Blonde, a Gaze, Dad P, should have Dad P in there, and a Woke Boy, or Wobkey. Jeez. And then that transition. So it's basically a pretty simple RNAV arrival. Not many, only 1 altitude expect. And then we're going to transition to the ILS runway 1 left for the approach. ILS or localizer 1 left. And of course we're going to load up the 10.9 page as well. Alright, progress page KTPA 01 left. Perf data. Descent, we're going to do, let's keep the speed moving. Let's do 78 and 320 on the descent. 3020 on the altimeter. Temperature was 27, about 79 degrees or so, with the crosswind coming across 270 at 5 knots. The DA for us on the approach is going to be straight in ILS minimums of 211. That is set. Config full, VAP 149. We are below max landing weight right now. So it's a visual backed up with the ILS. We'll throw LS push buttons on. And we're going to go flaps full, full reverse, manual brakes. Any questions? No questions. We're looking good. We are looking good. Let's sit in the jump seat for a minute here. A lot of time. It's sitting right here. Vikas, I missed your super chat. What did I miss, man? Let me go back up. Your school to fly airborne Florida said that, but there's nothing in written. And you're ready to work if they don't pay you. Well, you don't want to do that. You want to get paid, man. You don't want to work for free. Missed my third SC. I'm flying the 350. What an aircraft. Oh, you're flying the 350 on X-Plane? Cool deal, man. I actually enjoyed that 350 flight we did I know it didn't seem like it initially because I totally screwed up the pre-flight, but I think we're going to be back in the 350 sooner than later because I did enjoy flying that airplane down to Cancun out of Atlanta when we had that stream. So I wasn't a fan of the sounds, but it's not a bad. It wasn't a bad experience. We're gonna have to try it again. Andre says, hopefully the airlines don't make the same mistake as rental cars. Sold all of the inventory before last summer and cannot keep up with current demand. Yeah, I think it'll be all right, especially with they still got a lot of airplanes rolling off the delivery line. I know Airbus is still pumping them out, so I think it'll be mostly okay, at least here in the States. I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure what's going on in Europe with the airlines over there, but I know they did park a lot of aircraft out there. I found the key binding for the auto thrust disconnect button in the Toliss. It's autopilot, auto throttles, all modes off. That does the same thing as I think it should in real life. Oh, like the instinctive disconnect. Yeah, very good, man. I believe I have that one bound as well. Yeah, that's the correct way to disengage the auto thrust is either come to the idle detent or use the instinctive auto thrust disconnect push button, which is the little red button on the throttle there. You don't want to use the FCU. If you do, it's the airplane will think it's a failure of the auto thrust mode essentially, and you'll get that red ECAM. Similar to if you just press AP1 up there to turn it off, you'll get that's an improper way of disconnecting the autopilot, so it will actually give you an ECAM fault saying AP1 failed. Tango Delta says the 7.4 is really special. Joe Sutter was and still a legend to all of us engineers here at Boeing. We have a big 7.4 400 model with his picture on the tail, front and center in the building. That is awesome, man. Yeah, it's the 7.4 and the 400 I think is probably one of my favorites. I like the 400. The 8 is cool. But it's kind of like, to me, it's almost when you like muscle cars. I think some of the older muscle cars look better than the modern day counterparts. Maybe it's just that nostalgia kicking in. But I think the 7.4 400 was just a very balanced looking airplane. It wasn't too long, wasn't too short, but it still had that massive profile. Definitely one of my favorites. I know a lot of guys don't like the short little SP 7.4, but I think they look cool, man. I think that'd be one hell of an airplane to fly around. The performance on that thing's got to be pretty insane. Commander Gina, what's going on, man? He says Concorde's wing was designed by a Scotsman, Sir James Arnott Hamilton. It would be brilliant if you Americans called the UK instead of England. I'm sorry. All right, the UK. You got it, man. I did not know. Sir James Arnott Hamilton. All right, man. The UK instead of England. Okay, yeah, it's the UK. UK it is, man. I'll just say Europe. Is Europe okay? Like, that cover all my bases if I say EU or Europe? Steve says the best commercial flight I ever had was sitting next to a retired 777 captain, even though it was a Boeing. Yeah, man, some of the old guys have some awesome stories. I remember flying with some old senior cats that have since retired, but the stories from back in the day, from flying in the 70s and in the early 80s, just it was a totally different ball game. I mean, even you can even go past that, like in the 60s, but I love hearing stories from the really old guys, really senior guys, and they say, "Oh, back in the day." Yeah, it can make a long flight go by really quick if you sit next to someone like that. Does anyone know how to configure the 321 Neo to load more than 220 passengers? Ricardo, I do not. If anybody does, I would be interested as well. I think you can get in an all-economy configuration 228. If I'm not mistaken, that's with a Space Flex galley. I believe you can get 228 in there. Europe is definitely not okay. All right. All right, so here's the turn. We're coming in. Let's do a quick little flyby shot. Oh, look at that. That's a thing of beauty right there. You know, I'm a huge IE engine mod fan. You guys know this. But I will say, I give credit where credit is due, that Toliss has definitely increased the visuals on the standard IE engines. Ooh, yeah, that was a flyby there. So, you know, I'm looking here at this IE engine. It is definitely a lot better than it used to be when it first came out, if you guys recall. But pretty calm day out here over the Gulf. We're still way out here. We just hit simmer inbound. All right, so we're on the RNAV arrival officially. There's our initial fix to Rudolph, Blonde, and we are looking good. I can see Florida in the distance. It says decelerate. Let's go ahead and set. Did we miss our TOD? I think we sure did. Got the talking here. Oh yeah, we're a couple thousand feet high. Thrust idle, a descent. Really? There's no way. 40 miles from Blonde? Oh yeah, there is 100% way. Yep, we missed it. All right. Below mode is set for the descent. I'm going to go ahead and turn the seatbelt sign back on here. We've already done our briefing. We've set up. Our LS push buttons are on. We got 10,000 over Blonde. We're going to be a little hot over Blonde. We'll see what we can do with some spoid brakes here as that thrust begins to roll back. Jessica says, V1, welcome back. Thank you so much. Europe is a continent. Yeah, I know Europe is a continent. Okay. Oh, well. UK. I'll stick with UK. Oh, yeah, because UK. Okay, I feel you. I feel you. All right. All right. Cade Foster says, nice to see you online, Captain. Congrats on your new edition. Cade, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I really appreciate that, man.
Donation. Donation.
Vika says, I missed my third SC. I'm flying the 350 Witten aircraft. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I'm sorry. Whoa. Super chats just kind of all came in at once on OBS. Jessica Ferguson. Wow. Jessica Ferguson. Massive donation. Wow. Positive rates in chats, guys, for that huge dono from Jessica Ferguson. She says, welcome back, or Jess Ferguson. Welcome, thank you. Oh, sorry about that. Jess Ferguson 79 says, welcome back. Hope mama and baby are well. Glad to see new content. Jess, thank you so much for that $100 bomb dono. I really appreciate that. That's definitely going to buy some diapers and get some bourbon here for myself. But I really appreciate the support on the channel. Everybody is happy and everybody is healthy here. Mom is making a good recovery. She's actually doing really well. She's recovering a lot faster than when we had our first, which is a big plus, because anybody who has 2 under 2 knows that it can turn into mayhem pretty quick. And when her mobility was limited, it definitely made for a large challenge. But she's doing well. Everybody's well, and I really appreciate your support here on the channel, Jess. Thank you. Alfie Douglas has just got in from the pub after work. I hope you and the rest of the V1 family are doing well. Glad to see you back. Thank you, Alfie. I appreciate it, man. Really appreciate that support. Our internet has been throwing up all kinds of issues. It's throwing up issues today, right now. I know we're still dropping some frames, but hey, I said this flight was going to go no matter what. I'm just happy to be back on stream with you guys here, and the support is overwhelming. It's overwhelmingly awesome to see the support that you guys give here on the channel. Even when it's a 720, like, I can't believe it. I'm streaming in 720p in 2021 with frame drops, and you guys still subscribe, you still sponsor, you still interact in the chat, you still donate. I mean, it is so awesome to have that kind of community here. We've been building it a long time, and I wouldn't change it for anything. You guys rock. All right, here we go. We are approaching Blonde. We're definitely going to be a little bit high over Blonde. 13.7. Let's go ahead and get some spoid brakes out. Here we go. 321. We can go to full on the 321. So 320, you are limited to that half deployment. 321 might get a little bit here. Let's take a look. More than 2.5 degrees nose down. Would want to say pitch. So here you'd be saying, all right, let's keep an eye on that pitch. Now, whoever was asking that question about descent rate being uncomfortable for the cabin, here we go. 330 knots, full spoid brakes, approaching 6,000 feet per minute on the descent. This is definitely noticeable and uncomfortable for the passengers. So let me come in the cabin here. Let's see if you can get a sense of... So you can kind of get a sense of the nose down view just by looking out the window, and you see the ground over there. This is one of those descent rates where you are definitely perking the interest of the passengers in the back. But blonde is just an expect. It's not a mandatory restriction. We are missing a tile over there. That looks interesting. Jess says, I have had 4 babies, 3 16 months apart, so I get it. Oh man, you're definitely outnumbered with 4. Yeah, you totally get it. I'm just a rookie with 2. I saw a funny little meme on the internet. It's like, yeah, 2 kids is 2 kids, but 3 is 15 because you officially get outnumbered. So I can't imagine 4. Oh my goodness. All right, we're on the descent here. We're catching up to it, actually. 30-20 on the meter is going to be set on both sides and on the ISIS here, which is, was it 1023? Yeah, 1023. We're catching up pretty good here. This is a weird blue square. I think we had this issue a long time ago. Any opinions on the Ryanair situation in Belarus? Captain Tom, I saw something as I was scrolling through one of my news feeds. I don't even know what happened. I have no idea. I have to catch up on that. I have no background on that. But now that you're bringing it up, I will check it out after the stream. I saw one thing said something about like a hijacking or something. I don't know. I have no idea what happened with that. I'm going to look into it, though. I'd be curious because I see a lot of people are talking about it. All right, 11 for 10. Let's go ahead and retract the speed brakes. Now, in real life, it takes a long time above 315 knots for these things to retract. Yep. Pretty good simulation there by Toliss. All right, speed brakes are retracted. We're at 10,000 feet here. I'm going to go select speed. Let's dial it back to 250. I'm going to help myself out here with some little mini speed brakes. Pop out the landing lights. We don't have ATC, so we're just going to turn the nose light all the way on. Ding the flight attendants that we're going through 10,000 feet. And we're going to continue to slow back. I'm going to get a little bit more speed brake out there to help dial that speed back to 250. And then we're going to descend and maintain. Actually, we're good right now. We're still 30 miles out or so. Yeah. How's to know it's an expected altitude, not mandatory? So Anderson, on this chart here, you can see blonde. It says expect at 10,000 feet. So that's something where clearance has to issue that crossing restriction. So air traffic control would say JetBlue 357 cross blonde at and maintain 10,000 feet. And it's just an expect there, so you can put that in your McDo. So as you're flying along, if you approach the top of descent in your McDo and you have that expect programmed, you can query ATC, be like, hey, are you guys going to want us to cross blonde at 10,000? And they may say, oh yeah, cross blonde at 10,000, and now you can go ahead and start down, you're not behind. Whereas if you don't say anything and they forget, and then they give you that cross blonde at 10,000, now you're behind the 8 ball, right? So we're always thinking ahead. Anytime you're in an airplane, especially when you're in a fast-moving airplane, the faster the airplane, the more ahead you have to be thinking in your head. So never let the airplane fly to where your head hasn't been seconds before. So in a jet, that's even further ahead, right? Because we're moving at faster speeds. So that just is a little help out when they put that on the chart. So we're going to go ahead and descend now 5,000 feet. We'll go open descent. We're out of 10. We're looking good here. I can see this is beautiful Orbix HD Florida. I know it's not HD streaming, but man, I'm telling you what, the Orbix HD sceneries blow my mind. Kev Tom says Belarus faked a bomb threat and had a MiG-29 come up to escort them down so they could have a journalist arrested. Wow. A lot of various nations are calling it a state-sponsored hijacking. Fighter jets forced Ryanair flight to land, so the Belarusian government could arrest. Wow. Wow. Interesting. So that's what I was. James Ball kind of answered. So it's an opposition journalist. So that was going to be my next question: is who was this journalist? And so it's a political prisoner, like Alfie was saying, political prisoner or an opposition journalist. That is interesting. I don't know how I feel about that, man. And just you're seeing my initial reactions live on stream here. I think if I'm trying to just put myself in that position of the crew, from a crew perspective. If I was intercepted and I didn't do anything wrong, I didn't violate airspace, I wasn't in the wrong position of my aircraft, everything that I was doing was correct, and I get intercepted and I get forced to land, at the threat of being shot down, and I find out it's for political gain for one side or the other, I'm gonna be pissed. I'll tell you that. I'll be pissed, number one. I'm pretty sure that should be illegal if it's not illegal already. So how's that for initial reaction for you? I'm just trying to think, putting myself in those shoes right now. Like, let's just say we're on this JetBlue flight and all of a sudden I got F-18s out my window saying, hey, we need to have you land at Cuba or something. Yeah, I'm going to do it because I don't want to get shot down. What am I going to do in a 321 versus a fighter? But I'm not going to be happy about it. So that's not cool, man. I don't think that's very cool, in my opinion. Unless the only reason where I could see that being, acceptable is if you have somebody on board that poses a potential threat to the aircraft. So maybe they know that there's some type of terrorist on board, or they've got a tip, even if it was a false tip, but if they got a tip or information that somebody or something was on board the aircraft that posed a threat to the airplane, then being intercepted for doing nothing wrong and being forced to land is good. I want that, right? Because if it jeopardizes the safety of me, my crew, my passengers, I want to put the airplane on the ground. And if I don't have the tools to get that knowledge, whether it be through ACARS or air traffic control, and they just got to intercept the airplane, then so be it. But for political gain or that's I'm not going to be happy about that. Ricardo says parenting is challenging, but is one of the greatest teaching in life. Can be fun as well. Take the good with the bad. Ricardo, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I do love teaching in general. I love well, I shouldn't say in general. I love teaching aviation. I'm gonna go thrust idle open descent 3000. I love teaching aviation. I like it when people learn things from me and I can share knowledge with people. So I do like that aspect, and yeah, as with kids, I can only imagine there's good times and bad times. I've seen it already, just with two little ones. But I look forward to it, man. I've always wanted to be a parent, and it's good. It's good. I couldn't do it without my wife. She is an absolute rock star. All right, here's Dad P. We're gonna make the turn here. We're down to 3,000, almost 1,000 feet to go. There's Tampa International off the nose, looking beautiful. All right, so one fun fact here about Tampa, we'll simulate this today too, is so MacDill Air Force Base right here, they want to keep you for airspace purposes in real life, this real life situation here. When you get cleared for the visual runway 1 left, they say maintain 2,600 feet or above until passing northbound of runway 5 at MacDill Air Force Base. So runway 5 kind of is at an angle here. And if you look at the chart, Selm is at 2,600, but Selm is actually prior to runway 5. So you intentionally have to be high on glide slope. So I am intentionally going to simulate that here, and we're going to capture glide slope from above. If you want to see my technique slowed down and you want to see it where you can pause and look at the chart, I have a video on my channel dedicated to this. Check it out. Maybe one of the mods can pull it and put a link in there for you. I have a whole video capturing glide slope from above, but this is a real world scenario, and ironically, I think I did that video in Tampa. We're going to do this same procedure right now. So we are intentionally going to capture glide slope from above. We're going to maintain 3,000 right now. And actually, you know what we're going to do? We'll probably get a 2600 descent here. This is what they did to me the other day. So not uncommon to come get a descent down to 2600, but what they'll do is they'll clear you for the visual because we do have the field in sight. Field's off our left-hand side here. You're clear for the visual, maintain 2600 until at or north of MacDill Air Force Base. So quick overview, glide slope from above. We're going to vertical speed 2,000. We're going to get below 180 knots. I like to configure about 160. Flaps 3 is the perfect condition. And then we can descend at 2,000 feet per minute, manage the speed gear down, and we'll catch right up to it. Let's go ahead and verify that we did activate and confirm. We did not. We are activated and confirmed. I'm going to reduce speed now to 210. I love this scenery. This is just unreal beautiful right here. The CEO of Ryanair was very pissed. Hell yeah, he should be, man. James says, I'm going to keep it real. I'm following all instructions and landing, keeping my mouth shut. The 7.8 doesn't come with laser blasters and flares. Yeah, no, so that's the thing, James. I agree with you, is, you know, you're not going to do anything. So you're going to have to comply, obviously. It's your job is to keep the airplane safe, and not complying would be unsafe. Flaps 1. But once I got on the ground, I would not be happy. So there's MacDill Air Force Base, and if I zoom in on it, runway 5 is this one here. So the Selm intersection is theoretically like over here somewhere. So if you capture the glide slope, you're going to cross over MacDill's airspace, and they don't like that. So that when they can, it's visual like this. They'll say, north, we're going to descend over here. So we're going to intentionally be high on the glide slope. We'll show you this real-world technique. Happens all the time here in Tampa. We're going to dial it back to 180. JetBlue 357, turn left, heading 150. Left turn 150, still in 180 knots, JetBlue 357, flaps 2. If you haven't already, guys, hit that like button for me. Hit the like button for the stream. I haven't been able to get any content out there, so YouTube is not going to be happy with my content production algorithm. So liking the video does help the channel out. I appreciate it. And if you want to see more videos and you're a subscriber, make sure your notifications are on, because I do not necessarily have the ability to schedule, we'll just cancel that, to schedule my streams ahead of time sometimes now, so you may miss a stream if I don't post early. So if your notifications are on, you won't miss it. Alright, we got the field in sight. JetBlue 357, 2600 until at or north of runway 5 in MacDill. Cleared, visual, runway 1 left approach Tampa. Alright, so in this case, I'm going to start slowing back. We're going to come back to do 170 for now. I'm going to go localizer only, loc blue. We're going to configure flaps 3 out of sequence. Keep the turn going. So here's runway 5. Yeah, I think the Toliss is worth it. Absolutely, man. How's the weather been? It's been tough, dude. It's been tough. Thank you, Vise, for the dono. I appreciate it. I do think the Toliss is worth it. Absolutely, man. All right, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to preemptively load 2,000 feet here. I'm also going to set 1,000 feet in the window for a 321. So it's going to happen kind of fast here. I'm going to keep you guys... I'm not going to be able to be in the chat here, but I got 2,000 feet. Loc is armed. So we need to cross north of runway 5 at MacDill. So here's 5. So right about... right about now would be a good time to start down. So this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna for cinematic purposes, we're gonna make this an extreme example. But okay, there's 1 dot deflection, vertical speed 2,000, approach mode, managed, gear down.
2,500.
Vertical speed 2,000. I'm going to spin the altitude selector up out of the way. If we have to go miss, we set 4,000. VFE next flap's full. Glide slope star, so we've already intercepted it.
2,000.
And we are aiming to be stable by 1,000 feet here. Look at that. We're on glide slope. We're VAP plus 20. We're coming back. Glide slope is captured. So real life, that's exactly what you're doing almost every single time you're landing north of Tampa. Landing checklist, cabin crew advised, auto thrust speed. ECAM memo is landing. All green. Landing checklist is complete. And look at that. We're still way ahead of the game here. We could have gone a lot further. Hit the like button for that glide slope from above capture. And I'm going to bump this up just a few. Let's do one. Give me 3 knots there. Let's do 152 under the. Well, that's 151 maybe. We're splitting hairs now, but we're sitting right down there on that. All right, we're hand fly. This autopilot's coming off. Cat 1, 1,000 feet stable, clear to land. And JetBlue, I believe we're parking on the other side of the terminal, the other side of the airport, so we have to taxi around. We're going to roll it down towards the high speed down there at the end. 2 whites, 2 reds. This looks better than real life, that's for sure. Looks so good, this Orbix and Vertical Sim Tampa.
500.
Quartering tailwind there, interesting. We got 10 knot limitation on that, but we're okay. We're only at 5 knots.
400.
But you can see our ground speed. I know you probably can't read it, but ground speed 158. So
300. 100 above.
we are moving along at a pretty good clip here.
200. Minimum.
Landing.
100. 50. 40. 30, 20, retard, 10. 5.
Spoilers. Reverse screen, decel. Whoo, I got a little nervous on that one. 384? Yeah, I don't know about that. We'll have to see the replay. We'll just let the reverser slow it down. Start getting on the brakes now. 70 knots. $384, really? Alright. Well, frozen butter then. We'll have to. We will judge the replay mode on that one there. It didn't feel like a 384 in my book. Prime the APU. Start the chrono. Nice prime air right there. Vertical Sim Tampa is absolute juice. Absolute juice, Vertical Sim Tampa. We'll go up and over the bridge. Clean it up here. I did my flow, but Phantom 320 didn't do his flow. He left the flaps down.
Subscriber ahead. Look up.
Sam says, thank you for the glide from above trick. That saved me a couple times on that sim from having to go around. Awesome, dude. That's what I'm here for, man. Real life bridge here. Don't shut down one engine. I've learned that the hard way. It's not quite this steep. This is like going off-roading, but there is a bridge here in Tampa, and I did an idle reverse one time and shut 2 down. Yeah, it was a struggle to get up that sucker. Anthony says, great stream V1. Hardly could tell you had internet problems. Anthony, thank you so much for your support, man. And I didn't realize it, but I see you are on Team Green now, Anthony. That's awesome, dude. Thank you for supporting the channel, man. I know you've been around quite a bit in the chat on the streams and really supporting me. I appreciate it, dude. Oh my gosh, this freaking middle marker. Whoa, yeah, that's pretty steep. Just got another touchdown sound. All right, we'll go ahead and start the APU. And it's been about another minute or so till we can shut down engine 2. I bet you my brakes are pretty cool, though. We were really nice and easy on the brakes. Call BS on that 384. Yeah, I think that landing rate is up. I'm not too worried about it. I really just want to look at the height over touchdown and distance from center line. That's my big thing. Sure didn't feel like a 3 or 4. It could have. I think it definitely had the potential, but if you guys caught it, I kind of over flared a little bit, so you're gonna see a little balloony toony going on there, and then we set her down. But I think it definitely had the potential to be a 300, but after that balloon, I don't. Whatever. It's JetBlue. What do you expect? Why no auto brake? Cinematic purposes, man. And heavy 321. Just I don't know. I like using the manual brakes to slow it down. It's warm out. It's already 30C. So use those manual brakes, or use that thrust reverser to really slow the airplane down. And we do have a brakes hot. What are we at? Yeah, look, we're 310. That's nothing, man. That's absolutely nothing. If you did a low brake on that, we're 167,000 pounds. That's a pretty heavy 321. You're definitely gonna be heating up those brakes really good with auto brakes in that situation. All right, there's 3 minutes. Let's go ahead and feather engine 2. The electric pump is on. Confirm 2. Confirmed.
Subscriber ahead. Look.
Just wanted to hear that spool down sound. Taxiing blind here. A 154 going over the bridge, says Steve. All right, I don't want to taxi all the way to Jeb. I think they park right there. We're gonna just go right here. How's that? Gate 15. Oh, we're at a Spirit gate. V Spirit would be happy. There's our marshaller. Blinding you. Sorry, dude. And APU is on. Seatbelts. Engine 1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tampa International Airport. Man, it's been so fun to be back on stream with you guys. I'm hoping, before you guys leave, I'm hoping we might have a stream tomorrow. It might be in something special, so make sure your notifications are on if you don't want to miss that. I'm not going to connect the JetBridge because we're going to go right into replay mode here. I don't know how good my internet's going to be here for this replay. So what we're going to do, we're not going to do a shutdown procedure or anything. We're just going to go replay mode for you guys here. And I'm going to look at my feet per minute per FS. What is this thing here? NU. So yeah, that one said 178. I'd believe that one. So that FS Live said 178. I'll take that. All right, let's look at the replay mode here. Let's critique that. There's our MacDill. Oh, cool. We can watch it from here. We'll listen to the sounds. Captain Tom says, can confirm V-Spirit is happy. Tango Delta. Yeah, you got it, man. What do you expect? The Harmony says, for some reason, my Florence kit option is gray on my Toliss tab. Any solutions? Harmony, I don't know. Are you on the current version? Make sure it's updated, man. Make sure it's updated to the current version. Dougal says 2 days in a row. We'll see, man. We'll see how the internet... Look, here's the thing. I'm off tomorrow. I'm going to try to get the time. I think I'll have the time to do it. It's just going to be dependent upon the internet or not. So I'll probably schedule it maybe tonight, or maybe I won't even have time to schedule it. I'll just throw it up in the morning. But probably I would imagine around the same time. But I got some time off, and I want to spend some time with my people here at the V1 channel. So
1,000.
all right, the autopilot came off. Oh, my dog went into the attic. He's in the roof again. Here we go. Look at this vertical sim. Let's watch it from the engine view here. Oh man, look at that scenery. It's awesome. Alright, so right here was a potential for a smash. 100%, but then see, I ballooned it. And we came down. Yeah, no way was that 384. Here's the Florence kit. Get ready for it. And... oh, we can't see it from this angle. What? No Florence? There it is. Right there. See it popped up? Listen to those sounds. Alright, let's wind it back. Let's watch it from the runway view. Almost had it perfect. I'm rusty. The quartering tailwind will get you, man. Quartering tailwind will get you in real life. So here we go. Things are looking good. Almost perfect. A little balloon. Maybe. Even my daughter's laughing at me. I don't know. Maybe it was. We got her back on center line. That was not my best landing. Near smash right here. Right? Wait, I was a little bit too... She gets a kick out of it. So, right there. Just keep going. But see, I don't know. I got nervous. There's my pitch. 7.5 degrees, your pitch limit on the 321. 9.7 is tail strike. It's stretch compressed. So we are pretty close. Not close to that, but I had a little bit more. I should have just held it. But I think with, as in real life, you get a tailwind, it can definitely get squirrely with the 321 trying to flare it. You could potentially really be in the range of a tail strike with a tailwind on landing. But that's just me being rusty here. Let's see. It is what it is. Wasn't my best, wasn't my worst. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. I hope you guys learned something. I know we talked about some anti-ice, de-ice stuff. I hope you guys will tune in later this week for more streams at the channel. I know my internet's going to tank right now, so I'm going to leave you guys with a few replays, stutters or not. I appreciate all the support from every single one of you. Hit the like button for me on the way out if you haven't already. I look forward to seeing you guys here on a future stream very soon. I got to go rescue my dog from falling through the drywall. He's now in the attic again, and our pets' heads are falling off. My daughter's running around, so I got to get to work. I love you guys. Have a good one. I'm V1. See ya.